A very good morning to all of you. Myself, Dr. Varun Narayan Mishra. Today, I am going to discuss about the role of geoinformatics in land record management and land administration. It is very important to see how geoinformatics, GIS, and remote sensing technique can be used for managing and administrating the land-related information or any land record. Okay, so in today's topic, we will see different types of land administration, different types of record management systems, and how GIS, or you can say that geoinformatics, can be useful for managing such a land record or such type of land information. Okay, so before starting, as we all know that land information system is a type of geographical information system, and it's a computer-based system that is used for the cadastral and land use mapping. Typically, that is used by the local governments. So, whatever the land information system used for the local government, for the local administration, for cadastral mapping, and for land use mapping, is known as land information system. It is a part of a geographical information system. As all we know that geographical information system is a computer-based system that is used to store, analyze, manipulate, and display the geographically referenced data set. So LIS is considered as a part of that geographical information system. And when we talk about cadastral mapping includes all the information related to the land parcel, its size, its area or coordinates, then its tax rate and other information. Land information system also consists of land records and associated attributes as well as the spatial information. Whatever the land record we are having, it includes all the resources available in the area. That can be any kind of land use, any kind of land cover. Okay. Also, the land record includes the environmental impact and the fiscal data. Okay, so by utilizing the land information system, or when we are having a proper land information system, so it makes it very easy to retrieve, create, update, store, visualize, and publish the land information. Whatever the land information we are dealing with, it's a kind of land use, land cover information, or you can say the cadastral information of that area. Okay, so LIS can be very much useful. LIS will be a fruitful technique, efficient technique to retrieve, create, update, store, visualize, and publish the land information. Okay, now moving to the next slide. Yeah, this is the way in which we can have multiple data sources, multiple data or multiple information from various sources that can be used for the land information system. We can have the information from the maps, topo sheets, hard copy maps. We can also have some information, some data from field measurements. We can use different satellite images acquired from different sensors. We can also have different GIS layers that are kind of thematic layers in the form of vector data. We can also have the CAD data, text and paper documents can also be used as a data source for land information system. Okay, so by integrating all this information into a single platform, that is a land information system, then this kind of land information system can be used for various applications. It includes land record management, the survey information system, okay, the data automation and maintenance, GIS analysis. It can also be used for engineering and design purpose. It can be used for land use planning, landscape planning and management. Land evaluation practices should be there. Then there will be the economic development, public access, enterprise mapping, and the data deployment. So these are some applications of land information system, and this land information system is prepared, it is created by having different data sources from different you can say the instruments or satellite images, or it may have any paper map of any text document. Okay, so it's already discussed with all of you that land ownership system in India, there are four types of land ownership system. Okay, so land ownership system is primarily established through a registered sale deed. Okay, so what is sale deed? Sale deed is a record of the property. It's a record of a land parcel, or it's a record of the transaction of the property between the buyer and the seller. Whenever we are going to transfer the land to someone, then this kind of registered information, this kind of process is known as sale deed. Okay, sale deed includes the record of the transaction of the property between the buyer and the user. Okay, other documents that is used to establish the ownership system, that includes the record of rights. In short, we call it as ROR. So two important terms is here. These two important terms, one is sale deed and record of rights. These two terms are very much useful, very important for land ownership of any land parcel. Okay, so the record of rights, or in short we call it as a ROR. It's a kind of document with details of the property and the tax related to that property and the survey documents. Okay, so whenever we talk about land ownership, we talk about generally the sale deed and the record of the rights. So all the land records in India are poorly maintained till now. Till now, there is no any proper land information system is developed in India to manage or to store all the land records. So there is a poor maintenance of the available land records in India, and they do not reflect an original ground position. Whatever the data we are having in the map, it's not actually matching with the original information on the ground. Okay, so there is a mismatch between the map information and the ground information. So we need to have a proper land record management, proper management system to store or to analyze the land related data or land records. Okay, that's why we should have a proper, a well established land information system, so that we can easily maintain, we can easily analyze, and we can easily store all the land related record or land related information. Okay, so as we know that land is a valuable asset. It's a valuable asset because it is immovable. Land cannot be moved from one place to one place. If you are having a land parcel at a place, so you cannot move the land parcel to another place. So it's a immovable property. Land is a immovable property, and its value depends on its location. Some of the land is having higher price, some of the land is having lower price. It depends on its location. If you go for buying a land in a highly urbanized or in a metropolitan cities, its value will be very high. If you want to buy or if you want to purchase a land in a rural area, its value will be low. The value and the price of a land is totally dependent on its location, whether it is in the urban area or in the rural area, or whether it is in a highly urbanized or metropolitan city, or in a rural area or less populated city. Okay, and as we know that population is growing day by day, there is a rapid population growth. So with this growing population, there is also the increasing demand for the land, because people wants to have living space. If there is a growing population in a city, so the person living in that city, they need some space to live in, they need space to build a house, they need a space to build a society. Okay, so with this growing population, the demand for land is also keep increasing, while its supply is limited. But land resources are limited. The available land on the earth is limited, but its demand is keeps increasing. That's the problem. That is the reason behind the proper management of the land, so that we need to have a land information system. So how to access a land or land rights has a wider ranging impact of the livelihood. Whatever the land rights you have, whatever the access you have to any land parcel, it has a wide ranging impact of the livelihood, the industrial applications, economic and social growth. It has been noted that the people with extensive rights to the land are better off than the landless, due to the better access to the markets and other economic opportunities that come with the land rights. Okay, so the person or a individual which is having a good amount of land parcels, they are having the access, they are having the land rights of a major amount of the land. So they are having in the good economic condition, they are having good source of income in comparison to the person who don't have any land. Okay, so the entire ownership system is broadly defined by the access to the land title. Land title is a document that determines the ownership of land or immovable property. Okay, who is the owner of that land, what is the price of that land, and what is the size, everything, each and every information about the land parcel can be managed, can be stored by the land information system. And the land title is a document. It's a kind of document or paper that determines the ownership of the land. Means it tells us who is the current owner of that land parcel, and it is known as land title. Land ownership can be uh, stored, can be defined in the form of land title. Okay. So as we know that the land records are poorly maintained till now. There is no matching between the data in the map and the data on the ground. Okay, so the land records consists of various information. It consists of property maps, sale deeds, and are maintained across the different departments of the district or village level. So these departments work in the soil, and the data across department is not updated properly. Hence, the discrepancies are often noted in the land record. In the past survey, the surveys to update land record have not been undertaken or completed, and the maps have not been used to establish the actual property boundaries and on the ground. Therefore, in several records, the property documents do not match the position on the ground. So whatever the land record we are dealing with, it should have a property map, it should have the information about the sale deed. Okay, but due to the availability or because of not conducting the proper field survey or proper ground survey, the land data is not updated. That is the reason behind the poorly maintenance of the land record. Survey was conducted before few years back, but there is no current data set. There is no current information of the available land. So we need to have a regular and time to time land survey to get the updated information about the land or land record. Poor land record also affects the future property transactions, and it's become very difficult to access the land records when data is spread across department and has not been updated. A land can be handled land data can be handled by various departments. It may have soil department, it may have some housing department, it may have some water resource department. So the same land related information is spread across different departments, so it is not you can say synchronized. So we need to have a synchronized information system. That can be possible only by the land information system. One has to go back several years of the document, including the manual records. All of the previous data sets, all the previous land records are in the form of hard paper map. Okay, so we need to it is very difficult to go few year backs to see the actual land record, because all the data sets are in the hard copy map. So it is tedious job to find out information about a specific land parcel. Okay, that's why we need to have some digital information system based on geographical information system, and we call it as a land information system. So this kind of land information system, this kind of proper management of land will help us to sufficient time and abilities to you can say the all the properties can be stored, can be manipulated, can be analyzed in a quick time, and it will also helps you to reduce the manpower. So that's why it is important to have proper land record management. Okay, so what is the need for the clear land title? What is the need of having the information about the actual land ownership? Means who is the actual owner of a land? It is very important to know, because if there is a unclarity, there is not clear land titles, then it will have high litigation. Okay, high litigation means that there may be the disputed land between multiple uh, individuals or multiple persons. So a World Bank study states that some estimates suggest that the land related disputes account for two-thirds of the all pending court cases in the country. Okay, uh, out of all the court cases in the country, two-thirds of the cases are related to the disputes, land related disputes. These land disputes include those that is related to the validity of the land title, or you can say records and rightful ownership. There is a dispute among the person. There are disputes that is related to the actual land title, records, and the actual ownership of the land. A Niti Aayog suggests that the land disputes on an average take 20 years to be resolved. A case related to the land dispute, it takes around 20 years to be resolved. So the land disputes add to the burden of the court, and the ties of the land in litigation, and further impact sectors and the projects that are dependent on these disputed land titles. Also, it is very important to have clear land title, clear cut information about the land ownership, because of the proper agricultural credit. Land is often used as a collateral for obtaining loans by the farmer. Okay, so it has been observed that disputed or unclear land titles inhibit supply of the capital and credit for the agriculture. So small and marginal farmers, who account for more than half of the total land holding, may not hold the formal land ownership or formal land titles. They are also having the land, but there is no clear cut information about the land ownership and land title, so that they are not able to access the institutional or government credit or subsidy. So for getting the subsidy from the government, for getting the agricultural subsidy or any kind of subsidy from the government, a farmer or any individual should have clear land title, should have clear information about the land ownership system. Okay, so this is the figure 1 and figure 2 showing the land holdings and the source of the agricultural credit as of year 2030. So you can see here that 0 to 1 hectare, 1 to 2 hectare, 2 to 4 hectare, 4 to 10 hectare, and 10 plus hectares. So what is the, you can say, the land holdings and source of agricultural credit? So it is the graph from the RBI report, and it is showing that most of the land holdings and sources of agricultural credit are distributed among different land parcel. Okay, now, so you can see here the green color is the land holdings and source of agricultural credit from the cooperative banks. The blue color is showing the banks, and this yellow color is showing from different traders and relatives. So you can see there is highly variation between the land holdings and the sources of the agricultural credit. Now in the figure 2, this is the share of the sectors in the GDP. Okay, you can see here the sharing of the agriculture, means the agriculture share in the GDP in percentage over the different years starting from 1952 to 2012. So the share of the agricultural sector in the GDP is decreasing up to 2012. Most of the percentage of the share in the GDP is from the services. Okay, in 1952, around 45% of the share of the GDP is from agricultural practices, but right now it is only having around 10% of the share of the agricultural sector in the total GDP of the country. So we need to have more share from the agricultural sector in our GDP, so that the economic condition of the farmers will be improved, and India will have more productivity and more export of the agricultural grains to other countries. Okay, so this is the figure showing the growth in the number of urban areas between 2001 and 2012 11. Okay, so you can see here the number of urban areas are increasing day by day. Okay, as per the census of India 2011, okay, it's around you can say 150% increase in the number of urban areas between 2001 to 2012. So you can see here that the towns and cities are continuously increasing. They are growing at a fast rate, and most of the people, they are moving from the rural area to urban area. That is causing the rapid growth in the number of urban areas. So that can lead to some problem in the environmental or any other natural resources in that urban area. Okay. So what is the need of the maintenance of land records? So as we know that land is a immovable asset, so we should have proper maintenance of land records. We should have a proper land administration that is essentially involves in the recording, processing, and dissemination of the information about the ownership, the value, and the use of the land. So the system of land record management varies across the state. Each and every state in India may have different types of land record management system depending on the local condition, depending on the local need. Okay, because each and every state have multiple factors, as a historical evolution and the local traditions. So broadly, the land record or land related information can be classified into the property, the spatial records, and the transaction records. So under property records, we should have proper tax documents and rental documents. Spatial records includes the maps and boundaries of the land parcels, and the transaction records includes the registered sale deeds. So these are the three basic information that is required for maintaining the land record: property, spatial record, and transaction record. So one we will see one by one how these works. So today it is important to have land ownership system that can be determined through a set of documents. As we have already discussed, the record of rights, which captures the details such as the name of the landholder, the record of the rights ROR of a land parcel having the details about the owner of the land. Okay, the number and size of the plot area, what is the size and number of the plots area, and what is the tax, what is the revenue rate of that agricultural land, or so you can say the land parcel. So the registered sale deed is also important to prove that the property has been sold from one person to the other person. If you are going to sell, or if you are going to buy a property from anyone, so you should have a registered sale deed. Without registered sale deed, it is not possible to prove, or it is not legally proven that you have purchased or you have sold that parcel to anyone. Okay, so we should have registered sale deed when we are involving in the selling and buying of a land parcel. And also it is important to have survey documents to record a property's boundaries and area and prove that the property is listed in the government record and property tax receipts. So these are some facts that are important for having proper land record system or proper land related information management system. Okay, so first we are going to see what is sale deed. So sale deed is the information. Sale deed is a document which is prepared at the time of the purchase of an immovable property. When you are going to purchase a land parcel, at the time of the purchase of that land parcel, a document is known as sale deed. Sale deed having the agreement between the seller and buyer. There is a signing agreement between the seller and buyer when you are going to purchase or sell an immovable property. So it is a non-judicial stamp paper for a prescribed amount. You have to pay a prescribed amount when you are going to purchase or sell any immovable property like land. Typically, a sale deed contains the details of the property, the market price of the property, and the details of the past transaction on the property. So this sale deed includes the current property, the past transactions, who was the previous owner of that land parcel, and now who is the current owner of that land parcel. So that sale deed contains the entire information about the past transactions as well. So say, the sale deed is registered under the Registration Act 1908. Okay, it is registered on the stamp paper, and the value of the stamp paper is known as stamp duty. So when you are going to sell or purchase a land, you have to pay stamp duty. You have to pay some money, or that is a kind of you can say it's a kind of tax that we give to the government during selling and buying of a land parcel. So other information that is important for land and property record are having record of rights and spatial land record. So what is record of rights? ROR is the primary record that it shows that how the right or how the ownership of land are derived from the landowner, and how the records of the property transaction from time to time. Who is the current owner of the land, and how the transaction was done from time to time in past years. So the structure of the document and the information it provides that differs across the states. Each and every state may have different kinds of record of rights. They may have different kinds of stamp duty. They may have different kinds of sale deed information. Okay, this record of rights, or in short we call it as ROR, it provides the name of all the persons who have acquired some rights with regard to the land, and also it is having the information about the nature and limit of the rights and rent or revenue to be paid by the buyer. Okay, so record of rights could be the ownership that is having long term leaseholds or tenancy related. The ROR may also capture the information regarding the loans taken by the occupant, details on the rights of the owner or occupant of the land, and any community or government rights on the land. So basically, when we are talking about land of records, it tells us the information about the current ownership of the land and what was the past transaction details. Means properties transaction may vary from time to time. A same property may be sell many times, multiple times. So what is the past transaction history that also be included in the record of the rights. So you will have the information about the past transactions and who was the owner, then who was the current owner, then from whom who are going to purchase that land, land record or land parcel. Okay, this is record of rights. Spatial record is very important, as we know that spatial data and non-spatial data, they are the two types of geographical information. All the geographical information can be divided into spatial and non-spatial data. So spatial land record contains the detail of the property, such as a map. It includes its boundary, the plot size, the area, the connectivity of that land parcel with the major roads, and there may be different water bodies, and what is the condition of the surrounding area, whether it is agricultural land, whether it is residential area or commercial area, or it may have industrial area, what kind of surrounding area is there, and what is the size of that plot, what is the connectivity, what are the major roads near to your plot. All this information can be stored in the form of spatial land record. Spatial land record is very important to get the proper and accurate information about individual land parcel when we are talking about, or when we are going to develop a land information system. Okay, because land information system only deals with the spatial and non-spatial data. So when we are going to maintain, or when we are going to manage a land related information, so this land related information should have spatial and non-spatial components, so it can be easily stored by land information system. Now the property level sketch must be updated every time. So new entry is made in the ROR document. Suppose you have purchased a land parcel and after 2 years you are going to sell that land parcel to someone else. So this new entry will be made in the record of rights. You have purchased from that person, now you are going to sell it to another person, to different person. So this new entry, this new transaction can also be incorporated, can also be included in the record of rights. That is a document that is having all the past transactions as well as the current owner of the land parcel. So there is also important to have periodic and time to time survey by the survey department that are used to update this spatial land records. Sometimes when survey was done, that land parcel is related to the person A, but now the person A sell that information, that land record or land parcel to another person. Now the new owner of the land parcel is B, any person who is B, but during the survey it was shown that the person A is the owner of the land. So we need to conduct time to time survey to get the updated information about the owner of the land parcel. That will be very much useful for maintaining the spatial land records. Otherwise the data will be very old and it cannot be used for different applications, different use in the future. So this is very important to see what is spatial and non-spatial data sets when we are going to discuss about the land related information or land record management. So in India, the government of India started a initiative. It's a program that is known as Digital India Land Record Modernization Program, DILRMP. This is the scheme launched by the government of India to digitalize all the land records so that it can be stored in the digital format, and we can have updated information about each and every land parcel on the land on the earth surface. So this is the table showing the status of the completion of the various components under the Digital India Land Record Modernization Program. This scheme or this program having multiple components, multiple stages. So these stages are: first, the computerization of the land records, mutation, insurance of the digitally signed ROR, then cadastral mapping, spatial data verification, cadastral mapping that is linked to the ROR, real-time updation of the ROR, the number of villages that is surveyed, and what is how much area is surveyed. So the first component is completed around 86%. Second component, that is mutation, is mutation computerized, is done up to 47%. Insurance of the digitally signed record of right is done around 28%. So these are the percentage showing the completion of the work. Okay, you see here the area surveyed, it is only 35% of the areas are surveyed till now. So most of the work is required in this stage, surveying. Okay, computerization of the land record is done. It's around 86% of the work has been completed related to the computerization or digitalization of the land record. But the surveying part is very low. Surveying part is very slow. Surveying is having slow pace, and also the number of villages where survey was conducted, it's around 9%. So these two parts are important for getting the updated information about the land record: number of villages where survey was conducted and how much area is surveyed till now. Okay, so the record of right, date of updation till November 2017. This is the data up to the September 2017, and the data is from Department of Land Resource, Ministry of Rural Department. Okay, so you can see the status of this program, DILRMP. It was a program launched by the government of India to digitalize the land parcel, to digitalize all the land related information, to getting accurate and more precise information about the land data or land records. Okay, now moving to the next slide. So how we can go for the use of geoinformatics in land administration? Land record maintenance is done now. There is a need of proper land administration. There should be some administrative bodies. There should be some efficient administration to get or to maintain the land records. So land administration refers to the process of recording the information about the ownership, the value and the use of the land and its associated resources. This land administration includes the determination of the rights and other attributes of the land. Okay, land administration, the major work of the land administration is to maintain the recording of the land, to maintain the ownership of the land, to check the value and the use of the land for different purposes. Okay, this is about the land administration. So there are several components of the land administration. Land administration having different components: land and property legislation, urban and agricultural land reform, land and property taxation, land consolidation, development control and sustainable land use policy, land and property market. These are several components of land administration. When we are talking about land administration, it it should work on the land and property, it should work on the property market, it should work on the development, sustainable land use policy. Then they should also work for the land and property taxation, urban and agrarian land reforms. These are the components of the land administration. So first one is the land registration is an important component of land administration. Under land registration, this is a kind of process of recording the information about the ownership of the land, either through the storage of the contract information or contract document about land, or by compiling spatial or special investors of the land ownership. A cadastre is similar to the land register. A cadastre is a process in which we contain a set of records about the land. A cadastre is an information system consisting a series of maps or the planes showing the size and the location of all land parcels, together with text records that describe the attributes of the land. Land consolidation is a process. It's a kind of mechanism in which a planned readjustment and the rearrangement of the land parcel and their ownership, and it can be used to improve the rural infrastructure and to implement the developmental and environmental policies. So you read all these things. These are not much technical things. Read all the components of the land administration. So now what is the role of the geoinformatics in land administration? Okay, the first and very important is that the data for defining the land ownership and supporting land transfer, mortgaging and investment. The data is required for assessing the value of land and property, so that can be done, that can be provided by the geoinformatics. Okay, data can be used for land market support and analysis, and it is used for identifying the trends in the rents and the prices of the land, how the price is changing from time to time in different location. That can be done using land information system. Data is required for the planning and management of the utilities. Utilities including the water resources, sewage system, electricity, telecommunication, then transportation and cable television and other things. So geoinformatics can be used for proper planning and management of different utility services and different amenities. Okay, data is also required for the management of soil, agriculture, and forestry, data on existing forms of land use. For getting the current scenario of the land use, geoinformatics can be very much useful because it provides some information about the current land use scenario by using multi-sensor, multi-spectral satellite data sets. Data can be supported by the environmental impact assessment too. Whatever the data we are getting from the satellites, whatever data we are getting from different sensors, it can be used to analyze, it can be used to study the environmental impact assessment. Okay, GIS can also help you to identify and eliminate the errors in the data. When you are digitizing a data in form of point, line, and polygon, if you found the error, so GIS can help you to identify that error and you can eliminate the error, and you can have the clear cut boundaries between different land use parcels, different land parcels, by having a complete inventory of the city's land. GIS also helps us to increase the revenue base from the land resources. It allows for the development of the mapping standards to maintain the data's integrity. GIS is very much useful for the city planners, town planners, different administrators and managers, with opportunities for more effective management of the land parcel as well as the environment. So we all know that the applications and utilization of GIS for different applications for different fields. Okay, so GIS can also be very much useful for land administration because it helps us to provide the accurate and precise information about the land. That is very much useful for getting the updated information, because it is providing us the multi-temporal data sets. By analyzing and by studying the multi-temporal data set of a same study area, we can have the updated information about the current land use and what was the past land use of that area. Okay, and with the advent of high resolution satellite images, we can identify and we can map each and every building, each and every urban feature, each and every land parcel in a urban area with a good accuracy and precise information. Okay, so this is the way showing the cadastral database. Cadastral information includes all the information about the land. It includes the shape and size of the parcel. It includes the tax and property. It includes the owner of the land and other related information about the land parcel. So cadastral geodatabase includes the cadastral maps. It also having the ownership information, valuation of the land parcel, the surveying information, imagery and topography. By integrating all the information, we can have the cadastral geodatabase that can be used for different applications, and that information can be stored, can be uploaded on the map server, and that can be used, that can be accessed by multiple users through the internet. Okay, this is the way we can use cadastral geodatabase or the land information system digitally over the internet, that can be accessed by different users as per their requirement. We can also share the geo database related to the land in the form of CD drive or any other way of transferring the data in different sources in different formats. Okay. So what are the major requirements for the land administration when we are going to use the geographical information system? First, we should have geospatial data sets. There should be the availability of geospatial data sets that can be very much useful for decision making. There should have cadastral layers. There should have digital terrain model. Orthophotos are also required for getting the high accurate information in terms of aerial photographs. Topographical maps are also important for getting the elevation information. We should also have land use land cover map of the current city. Water catchment map is also required for water resource management. Road map, having all, you can say, the transportation, the network map including road and railway line, airport. Each and every transportation information is also required for proper land administration and proper land management. Okay, administrative entities, there may be different departments working in the land administration. The registration department is responsible for the registration of the sale deed and collection of the stamp duty. Okay, so the sub registrar office is responsible for such kind of activities. The revenue department is there. Revenue department is also responsible for maintaining the ROR and the mutation register. It also maintains the tax registers and the collection of the revenue for the land. There is another department, that is survey and settlement department. They maintain the spatial data through maps or surveying, and they also conduct day-to-day or timely survey to collect the updated information about the land, so that the maps can be updated with over time, mean time to time, for getting the updated information. These are some departments that can be considered as the administrative entities. These are the administrative departments that are having responsibility to go for proper land record management and proper land administration. The registration department, revenue department, and survey and settlement department. These are government departments. They are having responsibility for land administration and land record management. Okay, so these are different, you can say, the different departments: revenue, survey, settlement, registration department, their officers and documents that is maintained by different departments. Revenue department maintains the record of rights and mutation register. Survey department maintains the data related to the village map and city survey map. Registration and revenue department maintains, they are having the responsibility to maintain the encumbrance certificate and sale deed. So different departments are having different functions and different responsibilities, and each and every department works in this in works for different functions, but the whole soul or the entire system is only for the land administration. So these departments comes under the land administrative entities for proper management of the land record and land administration. Okay, these are some sources, and multiple entities deal with the land registration and record. Land records are a combination of three types of land records. When we are talking about land record, it includes three type of data: text data, that is in the form of ROR, spatial data in the form of maps, and transaction details in the form of sale deed. So by integrating these three information, textual information or ROR, spatial maps, and transaction details, we combinedly call it as a land record. These three different state departments are responsible for each of the date of the land record. Okay. In addition, the citizens have to approach several agencies to get the complete information on the land records. Now moving to the next slide, the report of the Parliamentary Standing Committee on the Commerce on Ease of the Doing Business had recommended the integration of the land record in a database. So there is a committee that was established in 2009, that is known as the Committee on Financial Sector Reforms, FSRC. This committee has recommended that there is a requirement for the computerization of the land records. all the land related information, all the land records should be converted into digital format. They all should be this, they all should have digitalized format. Okay, so right now government is working on the digitalization or computerization of the all land related data sets, land records, to so that we can have entire available land parcel in the digital format. This would help to reduce the corruption, the loss of records, and delay in the transactions. If the land records will be in the form of paper maps, so they may be lost, they may be destroyed, they may be some person may have they can also hamper the record, or they can just lost that data set. So if the data is in the digital format, there is a less chances of the loss of that record. It will also reduce the corruption, and there will not be any delay in the transactions. Okay, there are several challenges in establishing the clear land title. Firstly, it is required to ensure that all the existing land records are accurate and free of any encumbrances. Okay. Secondly, it would require that all the information around land is available through a single window. Currently, land records are disposed among different departments. Thirdly, it is very challenging to do the legal framework, registration of the document, and the contracts that are regulated across the center and the state governments. Okay, so to avoiding these problems, the government of India is developed, they are having a initiative that is known as National Land Record Modernization Program, NLRMP. NLRMP is a program, it's a scheme launched by the Ministry of Rural Development, Government of India, to undertake the land record digitalization and modernization, so that we can have the land record modernization and we can have entire land records in the form of digital format. Okay, these are some MCQs related to today's lecture. Okay, you need to attempt these MCQs on LMS. Okay, if you have any questions or queries, then you can ask me for that. Thank you very much.